wanted to see, does Amazon FBA still work in 2020? So I decided to launch a brand new product with a brand new listing in the middle of a pandemic and see, can you still make money with Amazon FBA? And the results are going to surprise you because, like always, I'm going to be 100% honest and 100% transparent, show you all my numbers, show you behind the curtain, and really show you the truth about Amazon FBA versus what most people do, which is show fake numbers, overinflated numbers. A lot of YouTube gurus I see are talking about their Lamborghinis and showing all kinds of crazy things. And in fact, I bet you before you watched this video, you saw someone talking about some crazy numbers that you thought there's no way is that possible. Am I right? Well, in this video, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna show you my real results day by day for the first 2 weeks of selling on Amazon, including my revenue, the cost of my product, all the Amazon FBA fees, all the other fees that nobody talks about when selling on Amazon, and my final profit. I'm also going to show you what the product for my 2-week test is, which again, most people on YouTube don't do because it makes it easier to lie about numbers if they don't share what their product is. I'm also going to show you how I found my product, how I found a manufacturer, how I worked with my manufacturer to get my product manufactured, and how I launched my product on Amazon, which is a key part of selling on Amazon. Then at the end of this video, I'm going to share with you all the mistakes I made in this first 2 weeks of selling on Amazon, and I made a lot. The mistakes I made cost me thousands and thousands of dollars, and if you watch any part of this video, make sure you stick around till the end because by watching the end of this video, it could save you a lot of money. And for those of you that don't know, Amazon FBA is a way for you to sell your products on Amazon, where you ship the products you want to sell to the Amazon warehouse, and when you get an order, Amazon picks it, packs it, and ships it out for you. And this is a huge opportunity because Amazon is a $1.3 trillion company. In fact, Amazon makes up 50% of all e-commerce sales. And a little known fact that a lot of people don't realize is 2/3 of all sales that happen on Amazon are by third-party sellers. That means people like you and me selling products on Amazon. A lot of people think that Amazon is selling all the products that are sold on Amazon. It's not true. You can make a lot of money selling products off Amazon. But let's get into my real results and smash that like button because this video is me being honest about some things that I really didn't want to share. The first day selling my product on Amazon FBA, I sold 90 units for a total revenue of around $1,800. Now, let me be clear about something. This is revenue and not profit. We still need to calculate all my costs. The first cost is the cost that it actually took to manufacture the product, which was a little over $600. Then after that, there is the Amazon FBA pick and pack fee. That's the fee for them to pick your product out from their warehouse and actually ship it out. And it includes the shipping for your product. That was around $300. There's also the 15% flat fee just for selling on the Amazon platform, which was another $300 or so. On top of this, there's just other random Amazon FBA fees and other costs associated with running a business. I'll call this about $60. This includes things like receiving fees and just random Amazon FBA fees that I've talked about in other videos. And it also includes things like business expenses, working with my virtual assistants, just random expenses with running a business. And all in all, my first day selling this product on Amazon, I did about $500 profit, which is pretty good, but the rest of the results are gonna surprise you. The second day that my product was live, I sold 15 units. I did about $300 in revenue. The products that I sold cost me around $100. And there was also another $100 or so in Amazon FBA fees. That includes the pick and pack fee and the flat 15% fee. And there was also another $10 or so in just other expenses for running my business for a total profit of around $90. And I want to point out that this is normal and in some ways kind of a good thing. It meant people were really excited to buy my product on the first day it came out, which meant I did a good job at marketing my product and hyping up my product so everybody was excited. Then on day 3, I only did 8 sales for a total revenue of around $160. And after you subtract $60 for the cost of the products that I sold and another $50 or so for Amazon FBA fees and all the other fees, the total profit was around $45 for day 3. Day 4, the sales bumped back up. It was around $280 in revenue. I think I sold about 14 units. And something to note about this is during the whole process, during the first week, what I did is I discounted my price. Usually the cost of my product is $28, and I let everybody know for the first week only, it was gonna be $19.99. And I think on this 4th day, I sent out another email. I posted some more on social media and posted in my Facebook group. So that's, I think, part of the reason why I got a few extra sales on day 4. And after all my product cost, Amazon FBA fees, and other business fees, I did about $80 profit on day 4. On day 5, I sold 7 units for $140 in revenue. And after you subtract all my cost, it was around $40 profit. Now here comes an embarrassing one. For day 6, I sold 1 unit for $20 in revenue, and after all my costs, about $5 in profit. Yeah, so that's a little bit embarrassing to admit, but it's the truth, and you know, that happens sometimes. I mean, not every single day is gonna be a big win, especially at the beginning, because you have to keep in mind, when you're first selling a new product on Amazon, Amazon isn't gonna promote it in the search results. It's basically all gonna be from word of mouth and all me sending out links, letting people know, hey, here's how you go find my product. I had to actually send people links that they would click on to do it. I wasn't getting any organic reach. In fact, a lot of people would go to Amazon to search for my product and they wouldn't be able to find it. And so a lot of people ended up buying my original flavor instead. And I ended up seeing a little bit of a bump in sales for my original flavor. But something surprising happened on day 7. I got 15 sales for a total revenue of around $300, and after all my costs, the profit was around $80. And the reason for this was, the next day, my sale was gonna end. The $19.99 sales discount that I was offering was going to be over, and I started hyping people up, letting them know. Another reason why this happened was I was actually low on inventory, and I was telling people, hey, if you wanna get on this deal, you better buy fast, because I only had a limited amount of inventory in the Amazon warehouse, and I wanted people to get in on the discounted rate if they wanted to. And finally, day 8, the last day of my sale, I did 32 units in sales, about $600 in revenue. After all my product costs, my Amazon FBA fees, all the other business fees, I did around $200 profit, which is a good way to end the initial sales period. And that's another really important thing to keep in mind. The sales are always gonna be at the highest at the beginning and at the end of a sale. Because the way the human brain works is they're really excited to be the first one to get a product, but also they wanna make sure, like once the sale's ending, it reminds people, hey, if you wanna get in on this deal, you better act fast. Now, something really shocking happened after these initial 8 days. And I'm gonna share my day-by-day results for the rest of the test in just a bit. Now, before I share the rest of the day-by-day sales, I need to tell you what my product is. And it's important to understand that there's 4 main ways to sell on Amazon FBA, 4 main business models. The first is online arbitrage or retail arbitrage, which are pretty similar. It's basically where you go find a product that's at a huge discount. You could do this in retail stores if they're going out of business, or maybe you go to the dollar store and you find things for really cheap, and you basically flip them on Amazon. So you find something that's $1 and it sells on Amazon for $20, you go buy it from the dollar store and you just go sell it on Amazon. Now, this is a great business model if you're tight on cash, maybe you just want like a quick side hustle and make some money relatively easy. It can make a lot of sense, but it's not a long-term sustainable business model because you constantly need to be going out, looking for deals, buying the products, flipping them. It takes a lot of work. What I'm much more interested in is the idea of passive income. I like the idea of doing a good amount of work to start, but then once your business is up and running, the goal, in my opinion, and the beauty of Amazon is you should be able to make passive income. You should be able to just have all your products sent to the Amazon warehouse. When you get an order, they're shipped out. And my goal is to be able to lay on the beach or go on vacation and my business to be continuing to run. That doesn't happen with retail or online arbitrage. On top of that, it's a really hard business model to sell. It's almost impossible to sell that business model. In fact, a lot of different platforms for selling businesses online don't even allow the retail or online arbitrage business model because all the reasons I said right here. The next business model is wholesale. And this is where you buy products at wholesale prices and again, sell them at Amazon for the full retail price and keep all the profit. For instance, you might buy a pair of Nike sneakers that are normally $100 for $50, which would be the wholesale price, sell them on Amazon for that $100, and then keep all the profits after all the Amazon FBA fees, all your shipping fees and all that other things. And you might walk away with $15 to $20 or so. Again, this is a pretty easy business model because all you have to do is find a wholesaler, buy products for them at the wholesale price, ship your product into the Amazon warehouse, and when that product gets sold, you'll make money. But a big warning, and one of the biggest cons in my opinion about wholesale is If it's easy for you to find that manufacturer, it's gonna be easy for other people to find that same manufacturer, and then you guys are all gonna be selling the same product on Amazon, which is gonna make it so that you get less sales, not to mention the fact that there could even be a price war where they charge 10 cents less for their product, which means you have to charge a little bit less for your product. And what I've noticed with this is profit margins almost go to zero because there ends up being a price war. Another big con about wholesale is at any point, the manufacturer can say, you know what, we don't want to work with you, and there goes your business. In fact, if they want to, they can go directly to Amazon, cutting you out, the middleman. Now, I know a lot of people online talk about the wholesale business model. I personally don't think it's a good business model. I don't think it's a long-term sustainable business model. And a lot of my friends and mentors that sell on Amazon that used to do wholesale are slowly getting out of that. But if you do want to know more about the wholesale business model, Renee from Cupcakes Training did a 2-week test video testing out the Amazon FBA model, and it was a really well done video. I'll put a link to that video down below if you want to learn more about wholesale. But again, I don't think this is the best business model. I think the fourth business model I'm going to talk about is by far the best one. But the next business model is private labeling. And this was really hot 3, 4, 5 years ago. And it's basically where you find a product that's already being sold on Amazon. You find a manufacturer, oftentimes you can find a manufacturer on the website Alibaba, and you tell them to add your own private label. So you might see that shampoo is selling really well on Amazon, and you contact a supplier from Alibaba and say, I want to create my own type of shampoo. They'll slap on a label for you so you can brand it yourself, and you can start selling on Amazon, which means you need to create a brand new listing. You can create a brand around your product. And if you're going to do private label in 2020 or beyond, you're going to need to make sure you really brand your product. And I do think that private label is a better business model than wholesale, but I think private label is dead for 3 reasons. 1, it's oversaturated. Again, too many people are selling basically the same products. And as soon as there's a product that's doing really well in the private label space, everybody makes their own private label version of that product, and it becomes too saturated. 2, China. China is actually manufacturing a lot of products, doing their own private label, and sending it directly to the Amazon warehouse. Again, cutting out you, the middleman. And 3, Amazon Basics. And Amazon Basics is basically Amazon's own private label brand. And what can happen is if Amazon sees that you're selling a private label product that's doing really well, it'll just make its own version of this. I had a friend that was selling backpacks on Amazon, and Amazon straight up copied their backpack and made their own version. And of course, it comes up at the top of the search results. And of course, my friend's sales drop. And I talk about why private label is dead in much more detail in this video I did a few weeks ago. But you might be wondering, what's the solution? In my opinion, it's number 4, which is creating your own product, specifically creating a passion product. And creating your own product is where you look at what products are out there and you make a better version of what's out there. So instead of just making a shampoo, for instance, you try to figure out how to make a better shampoo, and then you also brand it properly. And I think the best way to create your own product is to create a product that you're actually passionate about. Create a product that you wish existed in the world, because trust me, I've done a lot of work in my life where I was not passionate about it. And when you don't believe in your product, when you don't actually understand your product, it's a lot harder to sell a product online. And I know this from experience. A little over 7 years ago, I had a corporate job. I ended up getting depressed because I didn't care about the work I was doing. It was absolutely boring, and there was no incentive for me to work hard. If I worked my butt off, at the end of the year, I'd get a 3, 4, 5% raise. So I quit that to start a dance clothing company with my mom. Again, this was something I wasn't passionate about. I loved the fact that I had my freedom. I loved the fact that I was creating my own business, but I didn't care about dance clothing. I wasn't a dancer. I didn't know anything about this space. And what I found is I constantly would get burned out because I just didn't care about what I was doing. Sure, it was fun doing internet marketing. Sure, it was fun to have an e-commerce business, but I didn't really understand the product. And I'd spend hours writing articles, pretending to be an 18-year-old girl, talking about the top 7 tips for dancers, and it's exhausting. But on the flip side, if you actually understand the product that you're selling and you're excited about the product you're selling, it's fun. It's actually enjoyable to work on your product. Plus, you're gonna create a better product because you are the target demographic. You understand what the customer needs because you are the customer. And my product that I used for this 2-week test, it's called Performance Nut Butter Cacao. And basically it's a macadamia coconut cashew blended nut butter with some cacao in it for energy. And it's the kind of product that I was excited to make. It's really fun. Like, I am the target demographic for my product. And the way I did product research to find my product is very different from what most people do. And to be fair, this is not the first Amazon FBA product I launched. The first real Amazon product I launched about 2.5 years ago. And in these last 2.5 years, I've done about $1 million in revenue. And after you calculate all my product costs, the Amazon FBA fees, and all my other business costs, it was around $300,000 profit I've done in the last 2.5 years. And that's great, but that was 2.5 years ago that I launched this product. I wanted to launch this product to test out, does Amazon FBA still work? And the way I found my product for this test is, as I was selling my original product, slowly competitors started coming into my space. Now, I was the first performance nut butter, keto, paleo, vegan friendly, like premium nut butter on Amazon. But slowly competitors started coming in. And I noticed a trend. All these new competitors, their best selling flavor was always a chocolate flavor. Now, my product originally that I launched 2.5 years ago was just macadamia, coconut, cashew. Didn't really have any flavor except for the nuts themselves. But I saw this trend. All the top selling products of my competitors were a chocolate version. And to be honest, I didn't want to do the work of launching a new product. You see, back when I had my corporate job a little over 7 years ago, my goal was to quit my job and make $300 a day passive income. I spent years struggling with the dance clothing business, barely able to pay the bills. And when I launched my product on Amazon, my first passion product, within 2 months of launching it, I was doing over $300 a day profit, passive income. And because the way Amazon FBA works, I was able to travel, I was able to have a lot of fun and not really have to worry about money. So the idea of doing a bunch of work to launch a new product just wasn't that exciting for me. But as time went on and more competitors came into the space, my sales slowly did kind of start to decline. Funny enough, at first they didn't. At first, for the first year, 2 years, my sales were good. But slowly the sales did start to decline. And right around this time, my manufacturer for my original product basically said they were gonna 5x their fee for doing manufacturing, which made me have to go search and have to find a new manufacturer. And the only other manufacturer I found that I really wanted to work with said that if I wanted to work with them, I would have to double the amount of nut butter I was producing, which meant I either had to double my sales or I had to launch a new product. And obviously I decided to launch a chocolate version of my original product, but technically it's actually not a chocolate version, it's a cacao version. The thing that makes my product different from the competitors, and in my opinion better, is there's no sugar, there's no sweetener, it's 100% all natural ingredients. And the reason I bring this up, and the reason it's so important, is if you're gonna be selling on Amazon right now, you need to have something that makes your product better than the competition. If you're just doing the typical private labeling stuff and just copying your competitor's product exactly and selling it, you're not gonna have a lot of success. You need to try to figure out an angle to make your product better. Now, I did do a much more complete video talking about how I do product research, how I found my original product, as well as much more in depth on how I did product research and validated this idea for the product I used for this test. I'll link that video up here and down below. But once you've done product research and once you've found what you wanna sell on Amazon, the next step is finding the manufacturer. Like I said, I had already done that. So I had to actually fly in, sign a contract with my manufacturer, which is not normal. And the contract I signed with my manufacturer basically guaranteed to them that I was gonna produce a certain amount of units per year, which was really scary. And it's not normal. I would highly recommend avoiding signing any kind of contracts like that. But this manufacturer offers a lot of extra services, so they require a higher minimum. From there, I had to pay some initial startup costs. Again, that's not normal, but because my product's in the food space, there's a lot more production and startup costs. So I spent around $5,000 in startup costs. It was about $4,000 just to start working with them. And I had to spend another $1,600 to get a special die cut made for their machine because the dimensions of my pouch, they weren't able to make the exact dimensions that I wanted. So I had to pay $1,600 for this special die cut. From there, we started doing sample tests to make sure that the flavor was right. And it would cost about $675 to do 3 sample trials with them. Plus on top of that, I had to pay for all the ingredients, which was another $600 or so. And so the first sample, we made it. I was really excited. I thought it tasted pretty good. And I gave it to some friends to try. And they all said that it was pretty bland. So I went back to the drawing board, did another test. That's another $1,300 or so. Again, Same results. I gave it to my friends and they said, it's not really perfect yet. Now, one thing I did do during this whole time, and I'll talk about this a little bit more in depth later, is I gave out samples to people in my product launch group, which is a key thing. If you're gonna be launching a product on Amazon, get a product launch group, get social media, get fans for your product, and get a tribe for your product before you launch it on Amazon. This will be really important later in this video. But I ended up doing another sample round, which is another $1,300 or so, and I finally nailed the flavor. I was really excited. And then my manufacturer told me the cacao that I was using, I am not allowed to use. Basically, it had too high of a microbe count, so I had to go find a completely new cacao, which meant I had to go back to the drawing board and redo the formula, which made me really sad, and it made this whole process take a lot longer and a lot more money than it normally should. And I want to be very clear, creating your own product from scratch should not cost you as much money as it cost me. And I had a lot of issues with my manufacturers because during this time, at least towards the end of our product research and development, they started charging me a monthly maintenance fee and a storage fee. Again, that's not normal. My manufacturer is different, and I wouldn't recommend necessarily going with someone like my manufacturer unless you're doing large volumes. But this whole process really pissed me off, and I go into much more detail about all the costs and all the mistakes I made during the manufacturing phase. In this video, I talk about how I lost $15,000, and if you check out this video, you can learn a lot of ways to save a ton of money during the manufacturing process. And again, it shouldn't be that expensive. Most products, if you create them from scratch, are gonna be about $5,000 range. But I have to be honest, this whole process was extremely stressful. I constantly thought that my launch date was gonna be in October of 2019. And then I had to move it back to December, and then January, and then March, and I finally launched it in May. So it took a long time and it was completely draining. And I had a lot of anxiety and fear during this time. There was a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of times where I'd wake up in the middle of the night and be thinking about the perfect email to send to my manufacturer, letting them know that I'm angry, but not pissing them off too much, but letting them know that this can't continue. And that is part of the stress of entrepreneurship. Especially for me, I wanted everything to be perfect about my product, and it's just not realistic. And I have this motto that done is better than perfect. And the last year and a half of developing this product, I really wanted it to be perfect. And it's still not perfect, it's never gonna be perfect, but it's pretty freaking good. And I will share the rest of my sales day by day in just a minute. But one of the most important things about selling a product on Amazon is how you launch it. And so many people skip this process. So many people don't do this process right. And one of the keys about this is building a tribe. You want to build a following for your product before you launch it on Amazon. That's the reason why I was able to get 90 sales on day one of launching my product, is I had a ton of people that were excited to buy my product. And how do you do this? Well, I talk about that in much more depth in this video. But the short version is you want to build a community, and you can do that through social media. I personally used Instagram. You can also use a Facebook group, which is an extremely powerful tool nobody is talking about. And basically in the Facebook group, you can ask your potential customers questions about your product. For instance, for me, I showed them packaging designs. I said, hey, this is what my packaging design looks like. What do you think? They gave me feedback and I improved my packaging. You should also get emails from everybody that is your potential customer. And the key to this whole process is months before you launch a product, let people know that it's going to be coming out. Then a month before you launch it, let everybody know the date that it's going to be launched. Let them start to get excited about it. Then 3 weeks before, send out an email, post in your Facebook launch group, post on your social media. Same thing 2 weeks before, 1 week before, 5 days before, 3 days before. And then the day before, message everybody with a personal email, message everybody with a personal DM, a personal Facebook message, post on all your social media, and finally the day of, just open the floodgates. And this is what I did. I collected emails, I collected people on social media, and that's how I was able to get 90 sales on day one. And what's even more impressive about this is it's not just about how many sales you get. The other thing that's really important for success on Amazon is how many reviews you get. And within the first 2 weeks or so of selling this product on Amazon, I got 33 reviews, which is pretty good considering I didn't do any giveaways, I didn't do any PPC, I didn't do any kind of black hat stuff. It all came from my super fans. But let's get back to my day-by-day sales numbers and see how well this whole strategy actually worked. So as I mentioned, on day one of launching my product, I sold about 90 units, $1,800 in revenue, with a total profit after all my costs of $500. On day two, it was only 15 units and the total profit was around $90. Then the next few days during the sale weren't great, up until the end of the sale when my sales numbers actually spiked back up. And in total, during these first 8 days, I did about $3,000 in revenue. And after subtracting all my expenses, it was about $1,000 profit for this one product alone. Now, keep in mind, if you include the sales from my other product, my PNB Original, in total during these 8 days, I did about $8,000 in revenue. After you subtract all my expenses, it was around $3,000 profit. Now, the next 7 days weren't the best. Kind of disappointed in these next 7 days sales, and I guess it's to be expected. One thing to keep in mind, again, is it takes a little while for Amazon, the algorithm, to start ranking your product organically. And another important thing to note is I wasn't paying for any Amazon PPC, which was probably a mistake, and I will get into all the mistakes I made later in this video, so make sure to stick around for that, because the mistakes I made cost me thousands of dollars. But I wasn't doing any PPC, it was all just organic traffic, and at this point, my sale had ended, so all the people that were interested in buying my product had already purchased it, and the only new sales that happened in these next 7 days were from organic search, which wasn't a lot. So on day 9, I did 2 sales, and the total revenue was around $56. Remember, one important thing is my profit margin actually increased because I raised my price from $19.99 up to the $27.99. So after you calculate all my costs, my product costs, Amazon FBA fees, all the other costs, my profit was $25, which is disappointing, but it's not bad. Hey, an extra 25 bucks, that's not bad. That's lunch. That's at lunch at a nice place. Not bad for a product that I just launched, but still pretty disappointing. I thought it was gonna be a lot higher. Then on the next day, day 10, again, 2 units I sold. About $55 in revenue, and after all my costs, it was again around $25 of profit. Day 11 was 1 sale. Yeah, I'm not gonna even read all the numbers. $28 revenue, like 12 bucks profit or so. Not the best day, especially since my entire YouTube channel, I talk about Amazon FBA. That was pretty sad, but it's gonna get a little bit worse. The next day after that, day 12, I did 4 sales. So that was cool. That was a nice little pick-me-up. It was around $100 revenue or so, and total profit was around $50 or so. And these numbers might be slightly off. I try to do my best to calculate them, but maybe the reason my profit margin seems a lot higher than it normally is because I wasn't paying for any advertising during this time. I was really trying to test what my sales would be like without any Amazon PPC, which may have been a mistake because on day 13, got 0 sales. No sales for the whole day, which is sad. I was checking my sales results. I'll be honest, I freaked out a little bit at that point because I had purchased over 1,000 units of my product, and to see 0 sales means that it's gonna take me, I don't know, infinity for me to be able to sell out of all my inventory. So that was a scary day, but then the next day, day 14, I did 1 sale. So that's a positive. That's definitely an improvement from 0. And of course, again, revenue $28, all my fees, expenses, etc. Profit was around $12. And then finally, day 15, I did 4 sales for a total revenue of a little over $100 and a total profit of around $50 or so. So yeah, that was not the results I was expecting from this test. That was not the best sales numbers by any means, but these are real numbers from a real business. And I think one of the really important lessons from this is it takes time. And it takes time for the Amazon algorithm to start putting you in the search. What ended up happening is the week after this test, I ended up doing 25 sales for the entire week, which is around $700 revenue. And then after you subtract the cost of my product, the cost of the Amazon FBA fees, and all the other fees was around $300 profit. So, you know, hey, that's not bad. For launching a brand new product to make $300 in a week, that comes out to about $1,200 a month if I multiply that by 4. Which isn't bad for a nice little side hustle. And at this point, I've already done all the hard work. This is passive income. And one really important thing to note is this number is going to continue to grow because as Amazon sees that I start getting reviews and I start getting more sales history, it's going to snowball into more success, more sales, more reviews, and just keep growing and growing. In fact, I just checked my 4th week's sales numbers and they're a lot higher. So that's a good news. I'm gonna be sharing an in-depth review of my first month selling this product on Amazon next week. So make sure to smash that subscribe button because I'm gonna be sharing more honest, real results. And by hitting that subscribe button and the bell notification, you'll be the first to see that video. But here is the most important part of the video, and it's all the mistakes I made. And if you've watched this far in the video, you know I've made a lot of mistakes. The first mistake I made is I didn't follow my own advice. I didn't really create a passion product. Even though that's what I talk about on this YouTube channel, that my first product that was really successful was a passion product, this product wasn't really a stereotypical passion product. First off, it wasn't really that new or unique of a product. Yeah, it was a little unique because it didn't have any sugar, it didn't have any sweetener, it was an all-natural product. And I do think it is better than the competition, but my first product was a completely brand new category. There was nothing like it on Amazon. And that's why that product was able to have so much success. Was there was nothing else when people were searching for products like mine was the only one they could buy. Compare that to now when I launched this product, there's a lot of competitors for people to choose from, which means the chance that they're gonna buy my product is a lot less. Not to mention, and this is something it's hard for me to admit, it's not really a product I'm that passionate about. I'm actually not even a huge chocolate guy. This is me following the numbers and me just doing something because it seemed like it would make sense profitable. And I think part of the reason I had so many sleepless nights, part of the reason it was so hard for me was I wasn't super excited about the product. I mean, I was excited about it because I thought it could make some money, but it's not really a product that I'm gonna eat too often. Compare that to the original performance nut butter, which I think is absolutely amazing, tasty, and super healthy. That product was a lot more fun for me to start because I couldn't wait for it to finally come out. The second mistake I made was not making my product as a variation of my original product. And the reason for this is people are already going to my Amazon listing for my original product, and everyone that's already going to my original product, they'd start buying the new cacao flavor, which would increase the sales, increase the amount of reviews, and then Amazon would be more likely to rank it in the search results. The reason I didn't do this is because I wanted to make this an honest test. I wanted to actually treat this as a new product listing, as almost like a completely brand new product, and see how hard it is to rank an Amazon product right now in 2020. And to be fair, the other reason I didn't do this is by having it as a completely separate listing, it shows up in the search results as a separate listing, which means that I can take up more real estate in the search results. It also can show as a sponsored product on my current product. That way, on the sponsored products at the bottom of my Amazon listing for my current product, instead of it being competitor products, at least one of those could be my product, which means that there's a chance that instead of someone buying one of my competitors' products, they would buy my product. The third mistake I made was not setting up PPC earlier. Now, again, I did this on purpose to make this an honest test, to really try launching a product without PPC. But if you're launching a product on Amazon, Amazon PPC is one of the most profitable ways for you to advertise your Amazon product. For every dollar you spend, you could be making $3 if you do it correctly. The other reason I didn't do this is I wanted to wait till I got some reviews on my product before I started using Amazon PPC, because if you're advertising your product using Amazon PPC without any reviews, the chance that someone's gonna buy it is very low. So you wanna get some reviews so people know that it's a good product. The fourth mistake I made was all the mistakes I made during manufacturing, and this cost me over $15,000. And I talk about that in depth in this video right here. So click on that video. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, and remember to enjoy the journey. It's a long process and a lot of hard work at the beginning, but once you get it up and running, it is a great way to make passive income.